Valhalla is a balanced modded subclass for the Valkyrie class. So let's go over it. We're going to level by level, commentary on all the items you can need. So of course we start with the Valkyrie. Now this will give you First Light as a spell, which is a nice little healing spell you can also upcast. What's awesome about this is it uses Divine Favour. Now for Divine Favour, if you check out our Norse Battle Spirit, this is essentially like sorcery points almost. You use Divine Favour to get your skills going. So for example, First Light costs 1 Divine Favour. Divine Armament also costs 1 Divine Favour. Now Divine Armament is awesome, +1 bonus attack rolls, and we deal additional 1 to 4 radiant damage. But with Norse Battle Spirit you can actually regen these points in combat by fighting enemies, healing allies, or praying to the gods, as the description says. We also gain Simple Weapon, Battle Axe, Longsword, Trident, Warhammer, Pike, Halberd, Greatsword, Great Axe, Light, Medium, Heavy, and Shield proficiencies. For an Aesir, if you want to go over all of these, you can check out my very first Maiden of Daybreak video, where we went over every single one of these. But for this one, I would take Vidar's Thirst for Vengeance. You regenerate more Divine Favour while in combat, meaning you can do more abilities. For ability points, we're going to have 16 Strength, 14 Dexterity, 16 Constitution, 8 Intelligence, 10 Wisdom, and 10 Charisma. For your proficiencies, take whatever fits your roleplay. At level 2, we unlock Sundering Strike, so for 1 Divine Favour, we can strike an enemy, dealing 10 to 27 slashing damage. If we miss, we reduce their AC by 2, but if we hit, we increase the damage they take by 1d4. So even on the miss, this is an awesome ability, because either way you debuff the enemy, and if you do hit, huge amount of damage. Valkyrie level 3 unlocks our specialization. Now before we go over that, we gain Heavenly Smite. So when you hit an enemy, you can call on Odin to smite them for an additional 2 to 8 radiant damage. I believe that this costs 1 Divine Favour too. We get Valhalla Wings, so we can fly to a target position. And Valhalla Create Enhaja. So what this means is when an ally fully dies, so they fail all their death saving throws, we can revive them as a spirit for 3 turns for 1 Divine Favour. And of course the Maiden of Valhalla is the subclass we are going with. So Fallen Warriors can be made Endjahars to fight once more. This Valkyrie makes sure all chosen souls can enter Valhalla. As you can see, the playstyle is classed as balanced by the mod maker, and means we can now cast that Create Enhaja as a bonus action. Valkyrie level 4 unlocks our first feat. We also gain Swift Descent, so our movement speed increases by 3 meters, as well as our jump distance by 3 meters. And Brutal Swing, which means for 1 Divine Favour, we can swing our weapon in a large arc, attacking up to 3 enemies at once. For ability improvement, we are going to take our strength up to 18. And that brings us to Valkyrie level 5, where we gain Favoured by the Gods. So we're immune to poison, diseases, and being cursed. We gain extra attack, and Norse Ancestry, which is basically like a version of Speak with Dead. We can talk to a humanoid corpse to ask up to 5 questions. Skeletons and creatures killed by fire, acid, lightning, necrotic, or radiant damage can't be cast on, neither can undead. Valkyrie level 6 brings Purging Light, so as a bonus action and 1 Divine Favour, we can channel Divine Energy to remove all negative effects from us or an ally. And Unyielding Echo, if you die, we'd become an Enhaja instead, which is basically like we get 3 turns of basically not fully die, can be a huge lifesaver. Valkyrie level 7 brings Deny Life, block the target from being healed for 5 turns and 1 Divine Favour, and Aurora Veil, which is an incredible ability. This costs 2 Divine Favour, but for 5 turns we'll regenerate health to everyone nearby us. It's awesome. Valkyrie level 8 brings our second feat, as well as Battle Maiden. So, we get a +1 to our AC until our next turn after taking damage, and this can stack. So you can really tank the battlefield with this. For an Aesir here, we're going to take Hell's Rotting Presence. So the Fire of Hell, you apply Burning Rot to enemies in melee range. And then for your feat, you probably guessed it, we're going to max our strength at 20. Valkyrie level 9 brings the Age of Enhajas. So if an Enhaja kills an enemy, they can come back to life, which means you've got 3 turns as a spirit once you die to kill an enemy and basically revive yourself. It's an awesome ability. And the Gates of Valhalla. So whenever a nearby enemy dies, we collect their soul and strengthen ourselves to send them to Valhalla. Valkyrie level 10 brings Divine Herald. Surround yourself in celestial radiance, the light of the heavens. This is like a very minor version of Spirit Guardians and it only costs 2 Divine Favor. It's awesome. Valkyrie level 11 brings the Aegis of Light. Shield an ally with a Divine Barrier. They cannot take damage if struck from outside the barrier for 5 turns, as well as 3 Divine Favor. Another really awesome defensive ability to preserve your allies. Valkyrie level 12 is our final level, so we gain our final feat, as well as Odin's Judgment, Halls of Valhalla. So for 4 Divine Favor, we create a zone that mimics the power of Valhalla around us. This will enhance allies and grant them a +2 to attack rolls and an additional 3 to 12 radiant damage on attacks. And if they were to die, they would immediately become Enharjars. Awesome ability, you can play this like as a sort of like last minute gamble, or gambit I should say, to make sure if an ally dies they'll revive themselves, or you can do this from the start and just have a bunch extra damage. For feats here we are going to be taking Great Weapon Master. So if we land a critical hit or kill a target with a melee weapon attack, we can use another melee weapon attack as a bonus action on that turn, and we can take a -5 attack roll penalty for a solid 10 damage. Okay, let's go over equipment, and we start with Savrok's Horned Helmet, Dark Vision up to 3 meters or 15 if you have it, cannot be frightened or afflicted with other emotion altering conditions, and a Constitution saving throw +1. This will also reduce your critical number down from a 20 to a 19. You could also take the Helm of Baldur if you want to. For Cloak we're taking the Cindermoth Cloak, so if we take damage within 2 meters, the attacker will receive burning. The Blackguard Greaves for a use of Longstrider. I've gone with the Flawed Helldusk Armour. When you hit by a foe within 2 meters, it might take 1 to 4 fire damage, as well as 1 less piercing damage. You could also go with the Helldusk Armour if you really want to. Depends on how tanky you want to be. I like the extra fire damage here compared with the Cloak as well, but again, choice is really yours. We are going to be taking the Helldusk Gloves though, so +1 bonus to spell attack rolls and spell save DC, and our weapon attacks will do an additional 1 to 6 fire damage. We've got the Caustic Band, so we deal an additional 2 acid damage. The Killer Sweetheart, so when we kill a creature, our next attack roll will be a guaranteed critical hit once per long rest. The Surgeon Subjugation Amulets, so when we score a critical hit on a humanoid, we can paralyse them for 2 turns, once per long rest. And for a weapon, I've gone with the Halberd of Vigilance, +1 bonus to initiative and advantage on perception ability checks. When we make an attack roll as a reaction, we make it with advantage, and you can see we got 12 to 29 solid damage. Okay, so before we leave, the first thing we are going to do is Divine Armament. I'm just going to throw this on myself, and now you see we're concentrating on it. It doesn't run out, there's no turn limit. So as long as we maintain concentration, we now deal extra damage with our blade. If I come in here, you'll see it's now 16 to 42. So let's go find some combat and check it out. Okay, you can see we're in the combat and we're actually top of the turn order despite only having 14 dexterity, so the equipment really helps you out here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in the middle and we're going to get our abilities going. You'll see the enemy now has Burning Rot for being near us. So if we check that out here, you take 10% of your maximum health as damage at the start of your turn if they're within close range to us. Awesome to put on for melee capabilities. The other thing we're going to do is Divine Herald. So this will cost 1 of our Divine Favor, and you can see very much like Spirit Guardians, and we can get that Burning Rot, we can get this going as well. The only downside is it is a main action, so we can't attack the same round, but if you know you are going to be within melee range of people, I think it's worth doing. Okay, you'll see the enemy is burning, took fire damage, and took the Celestial Light. You see once again ran through our Celestial Light and took some damage. Okay, let's pump out some damage. Now unfortunately we don't have our our Divine Armament anymore because we lost concentration. But we can get the Celestial Light going like this. So let's pump out some damage. And you'll see we can do a lot. We can also Odin's Smite, and we can crit with that as well. And thanks to having extra attack and our Killer Sweetheart, we can guarantee another crit. We can also guarantee another crit with an Odin Divine Favor. More Celestial Light, and we have the Burning Rot as long as we are within range. And of course, bonus action Great Weapon Master, follow up with another. So this is a very, very powerful build we can do. Okay, instead of chasing down the enemies, we've actually taken a lot of damage, which is exactly what I want us to do. So, we are going to do our big Divine Favour of Hall of Valhalla, which will be the +2 to attack rolls, the additional radiant damage, and our allies will become Enhargers if they die. So let's get that going. You'll see the radius is pretty significant, however it is a full-blown turn. Okay, so just as an example, we will shoot Sledge here. And you can see we've got some radiant damage on our bow. Okay, now while we've got the halls open, if we just come up here very quickly. One of our other moves is we have our cleave, and you can see we've got all the burning rot. We've also got the celestial light going. So let's do our, when I can see it, our brutal swing, which we know can target multiple people just like that. So you can really one-shot just so many people here. And what we'll do is we'll come back down here because I'm hoping one of our allies will get downed. Okay, in the meantime, we are going to heal ourselves up with a First Light. Again, it costs another Divine Favour, but you'll see we heal up for a very significant amount. Okay, for some reason, the Enharger hasn't risen. So what we're going to do instead, we'll create our Enharger. We will target ourselves. Interesting. Okay, you can see we've got the Burning Rock going still. What we are going to do is our Sundering Smite. So remember, if we miss, they will still become weakened with a less AC. But on every hit here, we can still land our Odin Smite. And now you see, we missed the second time with our Smite, so now they have the reduced AC. And again, we can just come in here with two very basic attacks. Now we know they've got the reduced AC, and we can keep smiting. And you see, every time we kill an enemy, we gain 2 smites back. Okay, for some reason, the Hall of Valhalla seems to have broken the Create Enharger, which is a little unfortunate. I'll try and show it though after this. But for now, let's get our wings going, and we'll close down the gap here, ready to start hunting down this one. And we can close the distance with Rush Attack, which did miss, but it's fine, because then we can still follow up with another smite, just like that. And at this point, it's simply just a case of ending the fight, just like that. What we can do is on Norse Ancestry, and if we were to do this on the Barbarian, you see we have that version of Speak with Dead, so it's a pretty awesome skill to have. What I'm going to do is I'm going to insert here how the Enharger works based on the first video I did, so you can see it at least in action. Okay, now we made sure Jaheira died. This means we can do our ability and we can create the Enjar for 3 turns. And there you go, we have revived Jaheira. Now she will die at the end of the 3 turns unless we can get her to kill an enemy. Let's deal some damage here. You'll see we have all the regular abilities we would have. So if we were to do, say, a 4th level Thunderwave, we managed to kill Sparks here, meaning we have fully revived. We don't have the health, but we're no longer a dead being. We don't need to use a Revivify, anything like that. So I really hope you enjoyed this subclass build guide for the Valhalla mod. It is really awesome. Unfortunately, it does seem like the Halls of Valhalla is a little broken on console, so hopefully that gets fixed ASAP. But regardless, I really hope you've enjoyed. If you have, let me know in the comments and let me know what you change, any new items or skills, all that fun stuff. If you're ready, please drop the episode a like, it helps me tremendously, and subscribe to the channel for more. I've got more guides to Baldur's Gate, Dragon Age, Elden Ring, Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, Oblivion, Expedition 33, all the amazing RPGs you could ever need. And hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.